teams in the last 3 editions. Who are the stars that will define this World Cup? Buckle up! 1996 World Cup winning coach and WION's in-house expert Dav Whatmore takes you through the 11 players he thinks will own this tournament.
Once you sort of habituate, you sort of get used to it now. Okay, hello and welcome to WION World of Cricket with me, Digvijay Singh Deo. We're 2 days out from the ICC Cricket World Cup, and as you can see already a big change. We have transitioned from WION World of Sport to WION World of Cricket, and a cricket legend is here with me. Dav Whatmore is cricketing royalty. He masterminded Sri Lanka's win at the 1996 World Cup, and over the next 7 weeks, Dav is going to be here with us, sharing cricketing anecdotes as well as analysing the World Cup games for us here on WION. Let me start by asking you, is coaching easier or is this punditry that you're doing easier?
Much easier coaching, I tell you, but I'll get used to this. I've shared my opinion on many occasions, but never with so many. So this is going to be a good test. And
now you're live, and you're live all over the world. Viewers all over the world are watching you. Just a programming reminder, detailed previews to the 10 teams at this World Cup are landing on our website, wionnews.com, as well as our digital streams. So do get online and check them out. Now, every World Cup fan wants to know who the standout stars are going to be. We thought of putting together a list of 10 players. Then we thought, hang on, this is cricket. So let's stay true to the game and go in with 11 and not 10. We've asked Dav Whatmore to draw on his coaching repertoire and come up with 11 players who he thinks are going to own this World Cup. Now, we thought of calling it Dav's Army or even the Avengers Assemble. This is in batting order. It's going to come up on your screens. We're calling it Dav's All-Star 11. These are the 11 players Dav Whatmore thinks are going to dominate this World Cup. Johnny Bairstow, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shakib Al Hassan, the Bangladesh captain, the big show himself, Glenn Maxwell. Let's wait for the next page to load. And I'll just run through that over here. Here you go. The greatest match winner of this generation, at least I'm calling him that, Dav, Ben Stokes. You've got another Englishman, Moeen Ali, in there. Then the bowlers come, and bowlers who can bat. Clearly, Rashid Khan can hit it a long way. He can also turn it a long way. Mitchell Starc is the leading wicket taker at the last 2 World Cups. Trent Boult is back after a small stint away from New Zealand. And rounding off this All-Star 11 is Pakistan's Shaheen Shah Afridi. You know, Dav, this team, when I look at it overall, can win a World Cup on its own. Well, but it seems to have all bases covered. You've got lots of bowlers, lots of batters, lots of all-rounders. Perhaps the only thing sticking out for me here is a right-arm fast bowler.
Right-arm pacer, that's right. When I first came to make this list, I didn't have an 11 in mind. It's just that I thought these are the guys that will have a big influence in the game. And I do apologise to a lot of other players, Klaasen, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rizwan, Adil Rashid, Babar Azam. You know, there's a lot more you can put into that. So these were just names that I felt would make the most impact in this particular World Cup. So it happened that Mark Wood, who's got serious pace, he misses out just.
But that's okay. I mean, see, you won the World Cup. You have the right to your opinion. Yeah. And clearly you're obviously, what goes in when you pick 11 like this? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at players who are going to have a real impact in the game. Ones who are impacting on a short period of time where they can go, either bowling or batting and turn the game, or other players who will have a lot more of an influence in terms of time in the middle. So you have two types of players who are just as important as each other that will contribute to winning matches.
Okay, let's start right at the top. Not Ben Stokes, but let's go back to the first page. Because I'm intrigued by Johnny Bairstow at the top of the order, Dav. He does his damage for England in Test cricket, lower middle order. And he's very good at what he does. But you've chosen him over established stars like who open, like Quinton de Kock, Rohit Sharma, and who else? David Warner.
That's right. Well, they're all good players too. But this guy, he's averaging 45.09. He's striking at over 103. And he's very aggressive at the top. But to me, he's a little bit less risky because he plays pretty straight. And I watched him last night on a very tricky wicket in Guwahati. And he was dominating. He put the pressure right back on the bowlers. And it wasn't easy batting, but he had the ability to hit repeated boundaries on a very tricky wicket. So I can only imagine what he'll do on a surface that is not offering too much to the bowler.
Okay, interesting. The thing with Bairstow also is that he intimidates the bowlers.
That's right.
And a bit like Virender Sehwag for Indian fans for that context. And you're the right person to sort of explain why, because 1996 you paired Romesh Kalubitharna and Sanath Jayasuriya at the top of the order, and that was sort of a game-changing idea in one-day cricket to exploit the initial, then it was 15 overs power.
That's right.
And a lot of careers ended because of those two.
Yeah, there's a lot more vacant real estate in first 15 overs, as is the 10 overs now. And if a batsman has the potential to put the pressure back on the bowlers, that is nothing but a wonderful feeling for the batting team. So Bairstow definitely falls into that category, and with a strike rate of 103 and averaging 45 every time he bats, no-brainer.
Let's look at the other person you've got next to him in this theoretical 11, but the signs are there that, you know, when the generation of Kohli, Stephen Smith and Kane Williamson, Joe Root moves on, that Shubman Gill's going to be right up there. He's the leading run scorer in one days this year. And the best part about Shubman Gill, there you have him on our screens, he can bludgeon the ball, but he can also, he's got that silken grace about him. And it's not just limited to the first 20-25 overs. He's got a 200 this year, and that too against New Zealand.
Surely. I watched him many years ago, and I absolutely foreshadowed that he's going to be a terrific contributor for Indian cricket. He's starting to show that, and with an average right now of 66, striking at over.
Len Hutton, that space there.
I know it's early in his career, but he's done everything that's asked of him, and I think he fully deserves it. I mean, he's striking over 100, averaging 66, and he's playing in his home conditions. I think he's got a wonderful opportunity to be one of the shining stars in this World Cup.
Okay. Number 3 seemed to be easy for you, but was it as easy because you've got Williamson there, you've got Stephen Smith there? Or is it because you feel that it's a home World Cup and Virat Kohli has rediscovered the hunger, not for scoring runs, but for scoring those big runs? That had dried up. The century hadn't happened since what, 2019 to 2022?
Sure.
But the last year or so, he is getting the runs when they matter.
Absolutely.
I think that game against Pakistan on the T20 World Cup, that sort of changed everything.
Yeah, surely. Look, no, it was not a problem at all. This guy, you have to have him in, and particularly when you're chasing a score, and sometimes it can be really difficult to do that. This fella just shines. He's just a master at it. So, averaging 57, striking at nearly 100, playing, that's over a long period of time. He's just got 2 more hundreds to equal
the great Tendulkar's record.
Yeah, so look, I think he's just, there's nothing more you could say that hasn't been said already about this fellow. He's a wonderful contributor, wonderful skills, very aggressive, and fully deserves to be number 3.
I know you love your golf. And I was watching the Ryder Cup a lot. Yeah, I know that's not exactly a cricketing shot, but it is. It's perhaps a wedge shot. But can I give you what I feel is a golfing analogy? Rory McIlroy. Does Virat need to take something out of Rory McIlroy's playbook? Rory McIlroy disappointed at the last Ryder Cup. comes out and says, I need to prove myself. Goes out and is the best player for Europe, wins 4 points out of a maximum of 5. Now, Virat Kohli, you've coached him at the under-19 level when what was his sort of breakout performance. His captaincy didn't end in the best of circumstances. He remains a world beater, doesn't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
You think that's what he needs to do, see how Rory embraced the occasion and stamp his class over this home World Cup?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be some sort of a draw card for him. It appears as though Virat won't be around in the next World Cup, so this one's going to count. And there's parallels you could draw with McIlroy.
And even Sachin Tendulkar, the 2011 World Cup.
That's right. So that was his last, and he won it. So maybe that story could be rewritten. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on from Virat Kohli. We don't need to spend too much time discussing Virat Kohli. We know what he's capable of. But I'm intrigued with Shakib Al Hassan. You've picked Shakib Al Hassan in your selection, but this is going to be his 5th World Cup. And he loves the big stage.
Surely, and he does both. That's what swayed me a little bit. Shakib is no slouch with the bat, you know. Okay, he's under 40 average. But I'll tell you what, 240 matches, 308 wickets. Very shrewd boy. And I think...
You've coached him as well?
Oh, yes. I had 4 years with him. So I've seen him develop in those early stages. And to me, you know, he's another match winner. He wants to win. And for that reason, because he's contributing in both batting and bowling, and he's a shrewd tactician, he definitely warrants it.
And also a lot riding on him, isn't it? Because there obviously the news coming out of Bangladesh is it isn't the happiest of dressing rooms. There's been a public spat between Shakib Al Hassan and Tamim Iqbal as well. You think he can sort of take that pressure, because the passion of Bangladesh fans is a lot like what we get in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the subcontinent?
I think he can. It's not preferable that these sort of things happen, but it does from time to time, and more often than not it's a communication problem. I'm sure there are good reasons for things that happen, but it's not communicated properly. It leaves the door open for all sort of speculation. And sadly, we've got a situation where we're talking about it, you know, and lots of other people are talking about it. But I think he can handle it. He's a tough boy, and let's hope that you know, his performances alone, because they'll need him, will be good enough. And
because even at the Asia Cup, you know, Dav, when I was looking at what was going on in the Asia Cup, that top order isn't always very consistent, and then you always have Shakib sort of coming and bailing them out and getting them to a sort of I won't say a fighting total, but a respectable total. They need more. The other batters need to sort of contribute around him and get to a score where at least their bowlers have a chance. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, you know, given a little bit of assistance from what I saw last night, they're not going to be easy to negotiate for these batters. So, you know, they need a score on the board to bowl against. If they haven't got a sufficient enough score, like we saw a little bit of last night, then they're going to struggle.
Okay. Let's move on. We're going quickly through Dav Whatmore's All-Star 11. Now, Dav Whatmore's also picked the big show. He's picked Glenn Maxwell. Now, that's intriguing because it's very hit and miss with Maxwell. But Australia clearly coming out and saying, Dav, that they expect him to bowl a full quarter of 10 overs as well. So he is a great fielder. He can destroy teams with his batting. And he can also, as we saw in that last game against India, run through a lineup as well with the off spin.
Somebody said he's three-dimensional. He is a three-dimensional player, this guy, even though sometimes he frustrates you because he gets out too early and he's missed out on his on the runs that we all know he can get. But he's striking at 124, you know, and that is a game changer. That is a player who can win you a game.
But looking at where he is in the Australian scheme of things, that Australian top order is stacked. Then you have sort of a huge list of all-rounders, all of whom are sort of match winners. Is he going to be that dangerous floater? You don't know when he's going to pop up, either with the bat or with the ball, because we've seen him bowl in the power play in the IPL. And ever since he's sort of gone to Bangalore, he sort of regained this tendency to find those crucial 70s and 80s and get them in what, 40, 50 balls?
It's a good pitch at the Chinnaswamy.
Yeah.
Very good for batting. So that's
There'll be
one
some good
thing in his
pitches at
favour.
this World Cup?
I'm
Flat
sure.
decks?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But if I'm an opposition player and Maxwell's in the team, he's in the opposition team, I'll be wondering when is he coming, and because I'm sure every team will be planning to get him out, and if they don't do their homework properly and he gets going, he's going to break it open. He'll win games.
Okay, you talk about homework, but what about the next bloke we're going to talk about? How do you prepare for who I call the greatest match winner of this generation? Yeah. No disrespect to Virat Kohli or Steven Smith or even Babar Azam, but the return of Ben Stokes puts England right up there when it comes to contenders, simply because while the other batters or the other bowlers win matches, this guy does it when his team is struggling.
That's true too, and he's been shrewdly managed with his physical injuries that he's had. He looks fresh enough now. He hasn't been playing a lot of one-day cricket, mainly because of the knee. Yeah. Now he's corrected that. It won't be bowling. It doesn't need to, really. But boy, oh boy, he's another one that can turn a game in a very short period of time. And being a left-hander is a little bit of an advantage for him.
But Dav, if I could interrupt you, I want to understand this from a coaching perspective. You have the greats of the sport, right? And they deliver when the chips are down. What does it tell you about someone like a Ben Stokes, that his mind is uncluttered even when his team is, say, 50 for 5 or they're chasing, say, 270 in a test match and he's got what? The team is 100 and something for 5. He always finds a way then. What is he doing so well which the others are not being able to do?
Like Adam Gilchrist. Often he used to come in and rescue the team. All sorts of trouble. But what I think is consistent with him and Gilchrist and other players, regardless of the situation, you are who you are. If you start playing differently to somebody else, it's not going to work. He is naturally a striker of the ball, and I, as coach, would be asking him, be yourself, go and enjoy it.
But it's easier said than done.
It is easier said, but you've got to take pressure off, right? If he gets out, bad luck. If he doesn't get out, you're going to win the game. He's not going to win the game for you by being somebody else. So you've got to take the good with the bad with these guys, but there's a lot more good than bad, and you are who you are. You be yourself, nobody else. Okay,
from Ben Stokes, let's talk about another member of this England white ball juggernaut. In fact, he was also there at and played the Ashes. I'm talking of Moeen Ali. Yeah. Again, one of those dangerous floaters. Knows Indian conditions very well, Dav, because he was there at the IPL, did very well there as well. Can play at 4, can play at 3, can play down the order. And his off-spin, he can run through teams.
Surely, and to me still, he's one of those players that comes in, you think, oh yeah, slight of stature, hasn't got the power. But I tell you, his timing and his array of strokes makes up for any of that stuff, you know. And again, we saw a little bit of it last night. He's done it with the Chennai Super Kings on many occasions. He's been the difference between winning and losing on certain games. And he backs up, his bowling's improved as well. He's changed his action a couple of times, and he's had a little injury from time to time, but he's been very valuable. And coming down where he bats and getting these 10 overs in, he proves himself to be easily in that top 11.
Since we're talking about Moeen Ali, we're into the bowlers now, and only one specialist spinner. Okay, we won't count Moeen Ali and Glenn Maxwell in there, but one specialist spinner in Rashid Khan. Now, Rashid Khan went into the last World Cup with a lot of positive sort of vibes behind him, and people were talking him up, but he got absolutely pasted. I think he took 6 wickets.
Yeah, in English.
But in England, these are conditions he knows very well, plays the IPL over here as well. Why are you backing him to go big?
Because I just feel that he's got the goods. He's going to bowl his 10 overs regardless. There may be the odd bowler in this group that may not get his 10. He's going to bowl 10 every game. And he's an X factor. He's got the ability to not only get wickets, but keep the runs down as well. His career economy is only 4.2 or something like that. Yeah. And what is really strange, his batting average is exactly the same as his bowling average. So his batting is not that great, but it's improving.
But he can hit.
He can hit. It's 19.53, great bowling average. Batting can come up a little bit, but I'll tell you, his strike rate though, look at this, his strike rate is 106. Yeah. So his average may be a bit low, but he's effective and he can win your game because of that strike rate.
Okay, since we're talking about winning games, is there a greater match winner at the ODI World Cup than Mitchell Starc? That's a no-brainer.
I think so.
Last two World Cups, topped the bowling charts, 22 in Australia, New Zealand, 27 out there in England. And if he starts getting wickets for Australia, he could be chasing Glenn McGrath's record very soon.
I'm sure.
Why is it that in one-day cricket, he's so lethal?
Well, I'm beating his drum a little bit because, you know, he gives himself every chance of picking up wickets because he bowls a fuller length and he bowls a beautiful swinging ball as well. And not only that, he gives the option for the captain to bring him on late in the game where it's a bit difficult to come around the wicket, and he bowls those Yorkers that just like almost reverse swinging Yorkers that are very difficult to hit. So not only is he able to get a wicket or two down the bottom, he'll also try and keep the runs down as well. You know, not easy to do, but he seems to do it pretty well, and in the middle as well. If you want the wicket, you throw it to him. And I think, you know, he's been a wonderful contributor.
Also, when we look at how this World Cup is going to play out, you have to look at how captains use their wicket-taking options. Because the other two you have there, Shaheen Shah Afridi and Trent Boult. Again, they're two bowlers who know how to shackle the batters up top. They take wickets. But it depends on how the captains are going to use them. Because there's a tendency in Pakistan for Babar Azam to let things drift. How he uses Afridi could decide where Pakistan go.
I think all the fast bowlers, if they're doing well, generally I would like to see them get an extra over or two. If they're doing well, that means they're opening up an end and they're getting wickets. So I would prefer that they have an extra one or two at the expense of maybe in the middle and at the end. Because if you do the business up the front, then it's going to be a little bit easier for the others as well in the attack to you know, to get more wickets and or keep the runs down to a manageable total that you can chase. So you know, this guy also presents a wonderful bloody option for for his captain and a difficulty for the opposition batsman.
Okay, so that was Dav Whatmore's All-Stars. Let's see at the end of this World Cup if we need to get Dav in and just perhaps push him in a bit, saying, Dav, you got this wrong. But I can tell you as a cricket fan, if these 11 perform, then we are in for an exciting World Cup. If you disagree or agree with Dav, then feel free to give us your 11 or those players you think are going to do well at this World Cup. Get on our social handles, use the hashtags WIONCricket or Ask Dav. Also a reminder, we've done a lot of pre-World Cup programming and all of this is on our digital streams. From Dav Whatmore and me, goodbye, thanks for watching. We'll be back again to set up the World Cup on Wednesday.